The biggest enemy of the brand name product is the copycat product. Most time, these products are cheaper, and since they look pretty much the same, many consumers think that they're the same quality. But this isn't always the case. On the other hand, some of the most popular brands on the market today started out by being a copycat product, and some of these brands have made millions from copywriting another brand's product. So let's see some of the best copycat products in the market in 2021. Before we get started, please remember to give this video a like if you enjoy it, and why not subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications. That way you'll always be kept up to date when we post new content. Orlando.de copied eBay. When the Swammer brothers and a friend were in their early 20s, they started looking for opportunities to open a business. But according to them, they didn't feel the need to reinvent the wheel, so they searched the web in search of good ideas that they could copy in their home country of Germany. Eventually, they came upon eBay, the American online auction site that is now worth billions. But at that stage, the company wasn't as well known as it is now. So the brothers created their own online auction company that would run mainly in Germany. The funny part came when eBay bosses took note of the new company. In just 4 months, eBay had made the young men an offer, and they sold the copy that they made based on eBay to eBay. They reportedly made $43 million in the sale. Not bad for a copycat of the same business. Obviously, eBay thought it was a good copy. Still, eBay had its own happy ending, growing massively in the years since and is still going strong even today. The company is now worth millions, and they ship to many areas all over the world. I mean, it's eBay. One of the most loved cookies in the world, Oreo, is also a copycat. There are many different copycats of the Oreo available on the market, but the funny thing about that is that Oreo was a copycat too. The cookie, Hydrox, was made by Leaf Brands, and it was a chocolate sandwich cookie filled with cream filling. Sound familiar? Well, the thing is that Hydrox started out in 1908 and Oreo was only introduced in 1912, but very quickly Oreo became incredibly popular. The brand became known worldwide and was one of the favorite brands of cookies ever, and it still is today. So while Hydrox was made over 90 years, most people believe that they copied Oreo and not the other way around. Eventually, Hydrox was discontinued, and the cookie that was responsible for giving us Oreo is no longer available, while Oreo is still going strong and regularly broadening their brand. Sega tried to copy some of the Nintendo games. Many of us grew up playing both Sega and Nintendo games, and they were a big part of our childhood. But what we might have not known was at that stage there was a massive console war that was going on between the gaming giants. At one stage, Nintendo was winning this war by a massive margin. With games like Super Mario, they were taking the American video industry by storm. They were dominating, and Sega desperately wanted a piece of this action, so they created Sonic the Hedgehog as the answer to Super Mario. The games were very similar, and many believed that it was basically a copycat product. But it worked. With the help of some creative advertising, Sega gave off the idea that they were creating games for teens and older children, and that Nintendo was really for only little kids. For a while this worked, and Sega became more popular than Nintendo, but not for very long. Eventually the two companies started working together, and that is why some of the games can be played on the company's consoles. Kickstarter was not the first online crowdfunding site. When most of us think about crowdfunding sites, our first thought goes to Kickstarter. And this might be because this site has had some major success stories come from it, but they have a lesser known rival that came first. Indiegogo was launched in 2008, an entire year before Kickstarter started up. The part that is pretty sad now is that one of the biggest fears that users have when they're launching crowdfunding campaigns is to protect their product. Many worry that copycat products might pop up if they show their products on the site to get help with funding. That is why the site advises users to get a patent for their products before they share their products online for everyone to see. I guess that might have been a good idea for Indiegogo too. Pepsi might have copied Coca-Cola. Maybe. We all know that these two brands are bitter rivals, and there is a clear divide between fans of Coke and those of Pepsi. So did Pepsi actually copy Coke? We aren't entirely sure. Coke did predate Pepsi, but actually not by all that much. Coke can be dated all the way back to 1886 and Pepsi all the way back to 1893. Both products were created by pharmacists, and they were originally made as medicine. That is why the fact that the first formula of Coke did in fact include cocaine. Back in those days, it was an accepted fact that cocaine was a cure for all sorts of illnesses. We know better now, luckily. But isn't it really strange that the creator of Coca-Cola added this to his formula? In fact, he created it to help himself too. He was addicted to morphine, and cocaine was branded as a safer alternative. That was sadly just not true. Eventually, both the products were sold to soda fountains and bottled for sales. And that was only the start of the cola wars that even now rages on sometimes. Which do you prefer? Let us know in the comments. We'll catch you there. Then there's FedEx FedEx and UPS. Both of these companies are still incredibly powerful, and there are definitely enough packages being shipped for both of these companies to survive. But it was the United Parcel Service that started out first. UPS started out all the way back in 1907, but it was only in 1971 that Fred Smith decided to create a company that would help with the problem of getting quick deliveries on products like medical supplies. And he founded the Federal Express Company, or FedEx. But having a rival doesn't seem to have had a negative impact on UPS. Both companies have grown and become massive international companies. It isn't strange to see both company trucks in suburbs or in the city, but they also specialize in their own areas too. UPS has a lot of ground vehicles, and they're normally cheaper when it comes to shipping packages domestically. FedEx, on the other hand, has loads of airplanes, suggesting that they should be cheaper when it comes to international shipping. There's a place for both of these companies, and in this case, copying doesn't seem to have any negative results. Instagram stories were a copycat of Snapchat. Snapchat had a story function where photos and stories can be shared with friends. These posts then disappeared after 24 hours. Then in 2013, Facebook made an offer to buy Snapchat, but it was declined, and that decision might have been a mistake. 3 years later, Instagram, who by then was owned by Facebook, released their own versions of the stories. But it was pretty much the exact same thing. After that, Instagram took off and Snapchat's popularity plummeted. We don't know what would have happened with Snapchat either way, but it does seem like this is another case where creating a copycat product really did have a very negative impact on the original. Supermarket chains regularly use copycat products for their in-house brands. Many of the packaging inside supermarkets seem to look a lot alike, and this is something that is difficult to control. As long as the brand on the box is different, brands don't have a lot of control over other companies copying their product. That has led to companies like Kellogg's branding their products with the brand name being bigger and the product name being a lot smaller than it used to be. It is a little bit of a slippery slope for consumers. Copycat products could be great products, and they might cost a lot less than the real brand. But since it isn't a trusted brand, it might not be the same quality that you would expect. Then there are ethical questions behind copycat products. These products use the fan base of that of the real product to fool consumers into thinking they're getting the same products that they know and love. Copycat products have led to a lot of lawsuits, but since this is such a difficult thing to prove, most of these lawsuits don't result in much. The dark side of copycat products. While counterfeit products are completely against the law, making copycat products is more difficult to stop. Many of these products come from countries like China, where they create copies of some of the world's most popular and expensive brands. By changing the logo and the name a little bit, these companies can create a product that pretty much looks like the real thing without the laws of counterfeiting getting in the way. Consumers might think that they get the same product, but at a bargain price. But normally this is far from the truth. Most of the time, the quality of these products is completely inferior to the real thing. There's another aspect to consider when purchasing these products. Most of the times, these products are made in sweatshops where the vulnerable and even children are put to work. They work inhumane hours, and they are completely exploited. They work and live in terrible conditions. By creating a market for these products, consumers are actually contributing to the problem, even if it might not be something that we ever think of when deciding to buy a copycat of a popular brand name. Copycat products can be fun, cheap alternatives to popular foods or products, and it might end in no one getting hurt. But copycat products can also do a lot of damage to the original companies that put in all the work to create the product in the first place. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.